This is where the fun begins.
Clear eyes, full hearts, get loose.
King Kong ain't got shit on me!
And here we go.
Well, hello guys. Welcome back to Realish. My name is Jessica Lemon and I'm joined today by Derrick Myers. Say hello.
What's going on, guys?
And unfortunately, we are missing LJ this week. He's feeling a little under the weather. So just send him some good vibes. I know that we're sending him all good vibes right now.
Yeah, I think he's sick about the Knicks.
I know that I'm sick of retail, so I think we all have a little something to be sick about. But yeah, like this is week 2 of our, oh my gosh, hi Bowie. He wants to be part of the show too. He was literally dead asleep on the floor until I started talking. He's like, Mom's going, let's go. Bowie Baba, can you lay down please? So we are on week 2 of kind of like the rebrand of Realish. And I hope you guys are all ready for a really, really great show. Today, we're going to be kind of going over some news from the last week or so. And we will be also reviewing all 3 parts of the Netflix trilogy, Fear Street 1994, 1978, and 1666. Yes. It's the first film adaptation of R.L. Stine's Fear Street series, which his fans have literally been begging for. So if you have not already watched those, I would definitely suggest you pause the show because we're absolutely going to drop some spoilers.
Oh yeah,
so
you should definitely stop this right now and come back after you watch them.
Because we're gonna be talking a lot about what goes on. Yeah. But it's a great series and I'm excited to kind of talk to you about it, to get your take on it. But yeah, so let's just kind of get going. So how have you been? How's your week?
It's been good. Getting a lot of work done, so a lot of editing and a lot of recording. So this is actually, I think this is the first day. This will probably be the first day that I've had multiple recordings this week, though.
Really?
Yeah.
You this week. It's Monday, by the way, everybody. Yeah. We're recording Monday, so it literally just started. So he's already like on the grind.
And I'm thinking about last week, and I'm not even thinking this is a new week. Yeah.
Yeah. We're on Monday. I know it's weird. I've been like working pretty much like nonstop, my day job and full time. So I'm just like going, and I'm off today, and I haven't really done anything. It's 3:30 in the afternoon, and I've done almost nothing today.
You need those days. You need days like that.
But whenever we're done recording, I'm gonna try to get my life in order. Probably do some laundry, clean a little bit. Take care of life stuff.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's adulting.
Yeah, adulting. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Gotta be an adult, I guess. Because in the world we're in right now, we can't really take time to relax.
Not at all.
So you're doing good. Just been busy.
Yeah, just working. Yeah. How about you?
Same. Literally just been at my day job every day for the past like week. It's retail, so it's retail and it's back to school season. So getting a lot of moms looking for like specific stuff for their kids because they are going back to in-person school. Literally in like 2.5, 3 weeks, I think, is when in school starts again. So
that shift from being homeschool, because I was homeschooled.
Okay.
School through high school.
Really?
That shift between in-person to homeschool is a shock.
Yeah, I bet. And now they're going back into like, I definitely feel for like today's kids. Like they have been going through a lot the past like year and a half.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've just been dealing with that and just keeping up with everything. And like the company keeps changing stuff and it's kind of just been a mess.
Yeah.
And I just found out like a bunch of people were quitting and I'm like right on the edge of that. So I just submitted for like another job. So like fingers crossed it'll get me out of that retail world. I mean, it's still sales, but it's not like in a mall.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Sure.
It'll be nice.
I understand for sure.
But yeah, definitely hit that wall this week. And I was just like, I need to get out of here.
That's why days like today where you have nothing to do is really good to reset.
It is. It's kind of like needed. I like slept in and I definitely needed to just kind of chill a little bit because I've just been I'm like burnt out. I feel like that's what it is. I think that's the right word. Like me, a bunch of my coworkers, we were talking about it, I think Saturday, and we're really all just like really burnt out. Like it's
Yeah.
just ugh.
That's the part that really sucks about being an adult, burning out.
Yeah.
That sucks.
And then there's like nothing you can do. You're like, well, I guess I'm just gonna have to push through because I have bills to
You
pay.
got no
So,
choice.
um, but yeah, I mean that's kind of how things been. And we know LG is just not feeling too well, so that's probably how his week has been.
Yeah.
Because he's
Yeah.
been sick since what, like Thursday,
I think so.
Friday.
Yeah,
He let
it's
us know that he
because he knows the
wasn't
NBA
feeling too
draft is
good.
coming up this week. And because the NBA draft is coming up this week, he knows the Knicks are not going to do anything well. So that's pretty much it. Uh-oh.
His body is already prepared him for the hurt that he's going to be feeling.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Yeah.
sorry, the thing just popped up. It said my internet was unstable.
Oh no, you're good now. You're good.
Okay,
I see.
okay.
Yeah.
Uh, um, okay, I mean, yeah, so I feel like we can just kind of jump into some of the news. I have actually quite a few news stories. I feel like last week we started off on a little bit of a sad note, so we can, I guess, start again on a sad note. So maybe that'll just be our thing. We'll just start off on a sad note, so all we can do is go up. So okay.
Oh, that's so morbid.
Solemn.
I'm laughing at that. I'm sorry.
No, I know. I'm trying not to laugh, and I'm like, okay, I need to
Oh,
get like
man.
solemn again. I need to get sad news. So, some sad news. Actor, comedian, and Broadway star Jackie Mason passed away. He did pass away peacefully in his sleep. He was woken up apparently by some kind of car. No, he passed away in his sleep. He was 93, so he's definitely a much older man. So he lived a long life. But he was pegged one of Comedy Central's greatest comedians of all times. He performed on The Tonight Show back when it was like first started. He was on The Ed Sullivan Show. He had multiple comedy albums. Like he had a lot of work. And he was kind of mostly known for his like political incorrectness, which is funny.
Mhm.
He actually got kicked off and banned from, I think it was The Ed Sullivan Show, because he was doing one of his monologues, and Ed Sullivan was in the background like, all right, come on, like wrap it up. So then he just like flicks off the camera and flicks off everybody, and it just became like a big thing. So he got like kicked off the show. So that's the kind of person that he was. But so he passed away. Somebody else who passed away was Mike Mitchell. He was a very decorated bodybuilder, but he also starred in Braveheart and Gladiator. He unfortunately passed away of a heart attack on his boat in Turkey that he lived on with his wife. So he was having a good time.
Boat in Turkey.
Yeah. So he lived on like a houseboat in
Wow.
Turkey.
Wow.
But he was only 65. So he was a lot younger than Jackie, almost 30 years younger than him.
That's what happens to a lot of these bodybuilders.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like older bodybuilders, I think there was a lot more use of like steroids and stuff,
Mhm.
and it wasn't as like regulate, not that it's like regulated now, but it wasn't as like, it wasn't seen as bad. And I feel
Mhm.
like as time went on, it's probably just really just messed with their bodies. And I think
Yeah.
I think that's probably because like a heart attack at 65, I guess does happen, because I feel like 65 is the age where I mean that's like retirement age, so technically that's when you hit that like senior citizen status.
Yeah. Yeah.
So bad.
Right.
But it's so
Right.
scary. It's so scary when you see stuff like my dad just celebrated his 71st birthday last week.
Oh wow.
So
Happy
like
birthday.
happy birthday, Dad.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I see things like this where like people, they pass away from like a heart attack at 65, I'm like,
Yeah. 65 is still young.
yeah, that's what I mean. I was like, it's still young, and it like makes me
Yeah.
nervous, especially because my dad's like in his 70s now. Like,
Yeah.
it makes me anxious.
My great grandfather just passed away a couple years ago at 102.
My
before
God.
102. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So
People live a long time now,
yeah.
which is great, but also like terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah. I expect that we're gonna see a spike for a little while, and then we're gonna see a dip.
I feel like the way technology is, I feel like the only reason we would see some kind of dip is if there was like another war.
I only
And
think we're gonna see a dip because of how bad food is being processed.
oh, maybe, you know,
That's
people are
something.
getting like getting like heart problems,
Mm-hmm.
circulation problems, things like diabetes and stuff. It's
Mm-hmm.
a lot more prevalent because of all of the chemicals and stuff that are being put into food. So
And with the increase of technology, it decreases how a lot of people are active. So that's what I'm saying.
yeah,
I think we could actually see a dip with where we were seeing a spike.
I feel like it could definitely go either way because I know like health and like healthy eating and like just fitness in general. Maybe it's just the way the internet is throwing algorithms at me, but I feel like
Mm-hmm.
I see like a really good balance of like body positivity, but also like eating healthy and, you know, doing like moderate workouts.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I see a really good balance of that. Um, and then I think in general with our generation, we're going to be that generation that at least tries to fix things that the boomers really destroyed for everybody.
Yeah.
Somebody was talking, not somebody was talking. I was reading an article. I was reading an article about it had like photos of like families at the beach in like the 60s,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the things, sorry, just dropped my chapstick. One of the things said, you don't. It was like you don't see a single like overweight person at the beach
Mm-hmm.
in the 1960s. Like what happened to America? And like the whole thing is like it's literally just corporate America being able to mass produce like garbage and
Mm-hmm.
making it cheap,
Mm-hmm.
and then making like good healthy foods not as easily accessible and also more expensive.
But see, even with the healthier foods, quote unquote, that a lot of those have sugar or salt in them.
Yeah, and then there's like lots of substitutes and stuff too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but that time frame also coincides with like fast food,
Mm-hmm.
like McDonald's, Burger King, like
Mm-hmm.
Wendy's, like all of those places kind of came to fruition and made it easy. And then on top of that, like the workload that everybody was put on, like that's kind of around the time that changes where a lot more women were going to work because families they had to get more income.
Mm-hmm.
So then people didn't have time to cook home cooked meals, and
Right.
it's just like a whole thing. It was literally like an article. It took me like 20 minutes to read. It was like a lot. If I can find it, I'll like send you links, you can like
Yeah.
post it or whatever. But like it was super interesting to see like how things coincided with how like health is now versus how things were back then,
Yeah.
and how like family dynamics were then versus how they are now, and like work dynamics and all that it was really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
um but yeah, so uh back to our sad news. So just want to say rest in peace, Jackie and Mike. Um, you know,
Most
actors
definitely.
did a lot of work in the industry. Yeah, sad,
Yeah.
sad weekend for their families. So sending them lots of love.
Most definitely.
Um, so now I'm going to jump into just some news in general. So we have some movie news. Um, your favorite director that you can't pronounce the name of, Mr. M. Night Shyamalan. he actually had the highest box office release this weekend with his newest movie called Old.
Yes.
It's about a family vacationing on an island, and they just all start rapidly aging. That's all I read about it. I didn't watch the trailer. Because I do want to watch it kind of like with an open mind. But I hadn't heard of it. And then it beat out the new G.I. Joe spin-off origin film, which is starring Crazy Rich Asians actor Henry Golding. He is the character like Snake Eyes. That's the name of the movie. That's the character, and it's
Mm-hmm.
his origin story. Um,
Yeah, I'm
I
still kind of confused about that movie.
I hadn't really seen anything about it. I think I saw a couple like billboard advertisements because like I live in LA and there's movie billboards everywhere.
Yeah.
But I didn't really see anything else on it. But yeah, Old came in at $16.5 million domestically. Snake Eyes followed at $13.35 million. Black Widow in its third week is in third place for it made 11.6 million, and that actually pushed Space Jam down into the fourth place. It only made 9.656 million this week.
Yeah,
So
I know the execs I think theater execs were nervous about Black Widow's numbers.
Hmm.
After the first week, everybody started watching on Disney Plus,
Yeah.
and they were expecting like a dive. But I mean, for it to still be in the
Yeah,
top
it's
three,
it's third week and it's in the top three. So I mean, it's
yeah,
still doing well. People are still going to see it in theaters.
I'll take
So
9 million. Shoot.
right, like um,
Shoot.
but yeah, I mean, I if it's still in theaters, I kind of want to see it in theaters. I feel like it would be a really cool movie to have that like surround sound with. I mean, it's a Marvel film. It's one of those movies. Like seeing those in theaters, it's like a whole different experience.
You have to
We
see
talked about
those in
that last
theater.
week.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
have to see those. I just don't know if I'm going to see it in theaters. I think I'm just going to literally
you're just
wait.
gonna hold off, wait. Yeah.
I'm gonna just wait.
So speaking of like theater stuff, the newest trailer, so Comic-Con, San Diego
Yes.
Comic-Con was this weekend. It was, I think it was just almost all just virtual. I don't think there was an actual like Comic-Con, but there was like panels. So they did have like casts come together and like talk and stuff. But from what I've seen, from all the things that I saw, it's like all through Zoom, through like video chat and stuff. But the newest trailer for Dune, starring Timothy Chalamet and Zendaya and Oscar Isaacs and Rebecca Ferguson, Jason Momoa is in it as well.
Oh, that's
That
right.
yeah, so that was just released. I watched it because that was when the trailer for that came out. The teaser trailer for that came out. I was like, this looks really good. And I am a
Yeah.
huge fan of like sci-fi stuff. I love sci-fi. I love like post-apocalyptic type stuff. I just love it. It's some of my favorite like genres of stuff. Um and so just from that teaser trailer, I was like, this is gonna be good. So then watching this trailer, I was like, yeah, I want to be in this. Like I didn't even have to see the movie. I
Yeah.
told you I like rate movies based on how I want to be them. I watched the trailer and I was like, I want to be in this.
Yeah, yeah.
And so apparently this is a series because this is Dune Part 1. So I don't
Oh,
know how
is
many
it?
part. Yeah, yeah. When I actually looked it up on IMDb, it popped up as Dune Part 1. So I don't know if they're going to make a bunch of different parts. I don't know how many parts, but hello Hollywood, hello LA. I live here. I would love to be in the film. But yeah, like it was such a good trailer. I know you're not a trailer fan, but like it looks so good. It's coming out in October, I think October 22nd. It's going to be another one of those like dual releases. It's going to be both
Yes.
on HBO Max and in theaters.
Yes.
But it it looks just such a badass movie. Like it's going to be like you have to see it in theaters kind of movie because of just like how much is going on. You want that like full like deep bass in your chest feeling from
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Because some of that stuff just looks crazy.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch it. I think Batista's in that too, right?
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
I don't
definitely
know
gonna check that out.
his character in it, but yeah, he's in that as well. I remember he wasn't really in the trilogy much. He was only seen like a couple times for a couple quick little clips. Um but yeah, so it's they basically like a remake. There was the movie by the same name, Dune, that came out in the 80s. But it's based off the book by the same name, Dune, by Frank Herbert. I think my dad read that book like forever ago, and I have a Barnes and Noble like member thingy, so I'm probably gonna buy the book and read
Oh
it.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's really cool. It looks really really neat. It's basically oh no, I thought I had this pulled up already. I don't. Hold on. I'm just gonna
Yeah,
read the
I didn't
quick
know it was
little.
gonna be a trilogy.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like a trilogy. I don't know like what it is. It just says Dune Part 1 like when it popped up. So I was like, excuse me if this is gonna happen. So this is showing, it just says a quick little sentence, single sentence. It says future adaptation of Frank Herbert's science fiction novel about the son of a noble family entrusted with the protection of the most valuable asset and most vital element in the galaxy. So
Hey, I'm with it. I'm with it.
I'm really excited. That screams like sci-fi. That screams
Yeah.
like Jessica would be great in this movie.
Yeah, yeah,
Hollywood.
yeah.
That's just me though.
Yeah, yeah.
Um
No, I'm. You know what? A lot of these films that are coming out on HBO as well, same day, a lot of them have been really good.
yeah,
A
and
lot of them are really good.
it's like I feel like you have that tone of like surprise that it's like almost expected for it not to be, but I mean
Yeah.
it's only really coming out on HBO Max as well because the way the pandemic has created this weird in between with
Mm-hmm.
films, with theaters, at home viewing, especially now too with I don't think LA County is the only place to reinstate the mask mandate. I think there's some other places across the US that have also started. I know there's places in some other countries that have as well, because of the Delta variant being so like prominent right now. So
Yeah, Georgia will not be joining that.
Yeah, Georgia and Florida kind of live in their own little
stupid.
world.
They're stupid. I just don't know.
One of my coworkers, his family was moving, and they had already had their move planned and stuff. Literally, at like the end of 2019, they were going to be moving in October of 2020, and so he had to help his family move from LA to Georgia, in October.
Oh wow.
And so he did that. And when he was there for I think like 2 weeks, and when he came back, he was like, yeah, nobody wears masks there. And we're like, really? Because like that's all we've been wearing. Like you can't go somewhere without like having a mask. Like there's signs everywhere. And he was like, yeah, no, like nobody's wearing masks. He's like, some places, the restaurants, like the workers are wearing masks, but other than that, like nobody's wearing masks. I was like, that to me,
Stupid.
being so immersed in the way that LA is with everything, and just in general, LA's population is huge, and that's why I think they're so trying to be so on top of stuff, just because there's so many people here. It's wild to me that there's places that literally people that are so lax. It just blows me away. Okay. More film news. Jordan Peele announced the title of his newest horror film. It is called Nope. It will be in theaters July 22nd, 2022. And he is a genius, so I cannot wait to see this movie.
I'm so excited.
I cannot wait. He is somebody, like, even back when he and Keegan Keys were doing Key and Peele. Like, I loved those skits, and I was like, damn, it'd be so fun to be in one of these. It'd be so silly. Like, it'd be great. And like, then they both kind of gone off to do their own things. But like, Jordan, he literal genius. He's so just so smart. He's so smart, and it's just the tiniest little details that just make you like, what? I can't wait. I'm very excited for this movie. I've got a whole year, but I can't wait.
I know, and then Candyman comes out this year.
Oh my god, I forgot about Candyman coming out.
Yeah. So it's kind of like we have something to work with until that comes out.
Again, that's a very smart move on him. Like, he knows when he needs to release stuff, when he needs to get. He's smart. Either he's smart, he has a really, really good PR team behind him.
Oh yeah.
Which, I mean, probably both, but like,
no,
so excited.
I think I read something that Get Out and Us are in the same cinematic universe. Yeah,
I remember reading something about that too.
That's why I'm wondering if Nope is going to be a continuation of said universe.
Maybe. I have no idea. Because I don't know anything about it. I think that's the only thing he's released is the title.
Yeah,
I don't think he's released anything else.
Not trailer.
But
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm excited. We got a year, but like you said, we got Candyman, so we've got something to look forward to.
Yeah, something.
One of the next biggest things that I noticed that a lot of people are talking about, I've noticed a lot on social media, is the new trailer for the next season of Dexter. Was released.
Yes.
Were you ever a fan of Dexter?
Nope.
Me either. I've seen a few episodes. It's not that it's like a bad show, because it's not. It's like a very interesting show. I just couldn't really get into it. And I think I just want to sit down. I think now that I'm way more into true crime than because I've always been into like weird paranormal stuff, but those paranormal and true crime kind of like coincides. So I'd be listening to paranormal stuff, but they would also be talking about true crime stuff. So I think I've become a lot more interested in true crime, and in becoming interested in more true crime stuff, I think I would enjoy this show a lot more. So I definitely kind of want to watch it, but there's 8 seasons already, I believe. But one of my best friends, she's like obsessed with the show. She like cried when they like announced that they were going to do another season. Because I guess the last season like didn't end well. Like, it was just really disappointing. Like Game of Thrones.
Basically like Game of Thrones, just
it's like a true crimey Game of Thrones disappointment.
Yeah.
So for them to come back to do another season, there's a lot of people that are really, really excited. And if I can, I'll try to sit down and watch it all. I just know that each season's like 20 episodes or something. There's 8 seasons. It's like Supernatural.
I cannot commit to that.
Yeah. If it, I'd have to I'd have to be on like a quarantine or something. Like, have to be like forced to be in my room. I had to do that twice last year. It was wild. Got got exposed at work. Fortunately, tested negative, all good, but I got exposed at work and I had to like quarantine. So I was just like stuck and I couldn't leave my apartment for like
Yeah,
weeks. It was,
I got exposed too.
yeah.
Once the pandemic
Um,
actually hit Georgia, that's when
mhm.
I got exposed, and then I actually got it in December. So
Oh, you did. Oh,
I had everything
I,
kind of later.
I literally was very, very fortunate. Because my boyfriend at the time, he got it, um, and he tested positive literally like a week after we broke up. And I was like,
Oh,
wait,
that's a
what?
narrow miss.
um, but we still lived together and so we were still living together at the time. He was just like in a different room, but he has like friends that live in the same apartment complex, just like just above us, literally like like diagonal to us.
Hmm.
And one of them, their family got it. So when he went up there to hang out with them, he thinks that that's where he like caught it from the
Oh,
guy who had it from his parents. So it
yeah.
was like a whole thing, and we were talking about it, and we were like, I got really lucky because I have an autoimmune disease. So if I get sick, I get sick.
Oh man, yeah,
So yeah, I very narrowly missed that, but I
yeah,
quarantined and I tested negative and I wore my mask if I was leaving my room to go to the bathroom because like we
yeah.
have other roommates too. Like it wasn't
Hmm.
just like us. So it was. I'm just glad that that's over.
That's
I
wild.
I just hope I don't get like exposed again just because I don't want to end up in the hospital. I'm
Yeah,
vaccinated, but so if I do catch it, it probably won't be bad. But I also don't know how I'm going to react to it because of my autoimmune.
that's the big part about it.
Um, okay, moving on. The Hella Mega Tour opened in Dallas, Texas, and from what
What is
I've
that?
read, it's I'll get to it. Hold on.
Okay.
So the Hella Mega Tour um, opened in Dallas, Texas. It's from what I was reading. It's the largest gathering of people in the world since the beginning of the pandemic. It was about
Nice.
35,000 people in one place, Texas of all places.
Texas. Yeah. There you go.
Um, there was something that I read that said that there was maybe one out of every 300 people was wearing a mask.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Sounds
sounds
that
Texas.
sounds like Texas. Yeah.
Sounds about South. Um, but basically what the Hell Mega Tour is, it is Green Day, Weezer, Fall Out Boy. The Interpreters was like the opening act. So uh, even despite literally what's going on in the world, I would have killed somebody to be at the show. I literally would have like thrown somebody in front of a bus to get their tickets. I couldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. But if somebody unfortunately became ill and couldn't go, I would.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they would be able to recover. I would gladly take their tickets. But no, it's Texas, so people didn't care that COVID's a thing, and they kind of like talked about it too. I don't remember who it was that was saying it, but they were kind of just talking about how like it's nice to be able to be back into like a show. Like I used to love going to concerts. Like that was one of my favorite things growing up when I was like high school into like my 20s. Going to shows was like
Mhm.
the best. Like that, like I was saying with like movie theaters, when you get that big like scene and you get that like there's so much bass, there's so much like treble that you feel it in your chest. And when you go to a
Mhm.
concert and it's
Mhm.
so loud and you're right there and you can just feel it in your chest, like that's probably like my favorite feeling in the world.
Yeah.
So concerts and movie theaters is where you get that. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I do miss that. And I mean, I went to the Dodgers game last month for my birthday,
Oh,
and
nice.
it was the second day that LA had opened up like venues like that to be at full capacity.
Yeah.
So there was like, like 20,000 people there or something. It was a lot. And it definitely was really weird to be like in more close proximity to people, but I had my mask on like almost the whole time other than when I was like eating.
Mhm.
But I also was like front row of my section. So
Oh,
there was
okay.
nobody in front of me. So I
Yeah.
felt a little bit better. So there was nobody in front of me. Um, so I got to enjoy the game and it was fun, but there's just a full stadium of people that
I didn't like it before the pandemic.
really
Mm-mm.
I love
I don't
those
like
kind of events.
big groups. Big groups kind of like hits my anxiety. So I'm kind of like,
I'm
eh.
It depends on like if I'm at like a bar or like a club or something, which I haven't done in like years. Like I haven't gone out to like a bar and I can't even remember how long. Prior to the pandemic, I couldn't even remember when. But those kind of like, if it's like a smaller enclosed space and there's a lot of people, I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're in at like an arena or like a stadium, I feel like because there's so much up air openness,
Yeah.
it doesn't hit me as bad. But I also haven't been to anything other than the baseball game, and I went by myself, and I was able to kind of like do my own thing and stay away from people. I wasn't like forced to be like, oh, here's this person that I'm with, like I need to make sure that they're right next to me.
Yeah.
I was able to kind of weave a little bit easier, so it wasn't as bad. But I don't know how I'm gonna be like going back out into like a real world stuff again.
I think I think it's gonna be an adjustment for a lot of people. I think it really is. But
100%.
I just it's gonna take me a while. It's gonna take me a while. I already didn't care about doing it before.
Yeah.
So now
and now you have like an excuse. You're like, no,
I
it's
got
fine.
a reason. Yeah.
You're like, I have reasons now. It's fine. I feel like basically everybody in the world has gone through this like mental health like break.
Yeah.
And it's gonna take a lot to bring everybody back.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the Hell Omega tour, literally like consisting of some of the best like punk groups that have ever existed. I would have loved to see that, but it went really well. It was a really good show. Everything that I've read said that they killed it, and I miss concerts.
Well, great job, Texas.
Yep. You know what? You did something that's like not good, because like mostly what they're doing right now is not good in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I guess hosting a concert with some like literal like anarchists is funny. I find that hilarious. I find that so funny because these are people that all they do is like bash like the GOP, and meanwhile Texas is like the one to host them. It's funny. It's funny on both ends. It's like they're like, we hate you, but you'll let us do a show. So
it's
like,
a
okay,
necessary evil.
Yeah, and then Texas is like, we also hate you, but you're gonna like bring a big crowd and money. So I guess we'll take it. So it's like it's a very weird balance that happens with this show. So the movies, music, I'm gonna do some celebrity stuff as well. I've got a couple cute little celebrity stories, one kind of sad one. So we're gonna fall again on some sad stuff, which I apologize for. But Pink, so the singer Pink, she do you know about anything that's going on in the Olympics right now?
Some stuff. I'm not really paying attention to it too much though.
So the Norwegian women's beach handball team were almost disqualified because they decided to wear shorts instead of the like teeny tiny little bikini bottoms to perform in. So they opted to wear longer shorts, and they almost got kicked out. But instead the team just got fined, and Pink offered to pay all of the fines.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because there's I think each player was fined like 175 like American dollars. I think it was like 150 euros or something per player, and the team has 10 players, I think. So yeah, I mean it's the whole thing, like the whole thing that Pink made, because she made like a big thing about it, is that it's just super sexist. Like the women have this very strict uniform. Like they can't wear bottoms that are like wider than like I think 10 centimeters. Yeah, like that's like this much. So 10 centimeters, 5 inches, like this much there. So their bottoms can't be longer than this, which is literally their butt. Your butt is hanging out.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, men in the exact same sport just to get to wear shorts, they're fine. They can wear shorts. Yeah. But as soon as the women's team decides to wear it, everybody's like up in arms, and they're gonna get disqualified, and they're getting fined, and like it's just really old rules that just don't equate to like how things are now. Like it's a lot of like sexualization. Same with there's a lot of stuff going on with like gymnasts, and how like the women are like forced to wear her like not being able to get credit for the shit she's doing. Like literally she's the GOAT. She is the best gymnast in the world. Nobody can compare. And the judges are like, well, we don't want anybody to get hurt, so we're going to devalue your skills. And she's like, why?
And still
it's so dumb. So dumb.
Yeah.
and she's still doing her tricks. She's and like they're not giving her the points that she's earned, while now the US I think is going into their second place right now, and like the judges are like, oh, they're only in second place. Like, yeah, because you literally put them there. You're not giving her the
Yeah.
points that she earned. Like,
Yeah.
it's just it's so stupid. But there's a lot of like sexualization of like the what they're wearing, and I can't remember the country. I wish I could remember the country, because I just read this maybe like 20 minutes before we started recording. So I don't have it in my notes, but there's another team that their female gymnasts are wearing leotards that cover wrists to ankles, like they're full body leotards, and they're
Yeah.
doing their routines, and they're killing it. Like they don't need to be in these tiny little like
You don't need
itty
to.
bitty swimsuit like leotards.
I think what the excuse was prior was mobility.
But the
But
men get to wear the full body leotards, and it's
yeah,
never been an issue.
it doesn't make any sense. I mean,
So I think there was one thing that I read that made sense, and it was basically like the Olympics used to be like just men. And then when they started to bring women's athletics into it, they weren't getting as much attention because it's the women's athletics and women are weak and blah, blah, blah. But so they're like, okay, well, let's make rules. So like, we'll get people interested because they'll be showing off their bodies.
yeah.
So we're going to make rules that they have to wear outfits where their bodies are being shown so that we can get views.
Yeah.
And it's like, obviously now people are like, that's stupid. Like they're just as talented. You don't need to see their ass cheeks.
Yeah.
Like let them wear what they're going to wear. They're going to perform.
A lot of cases, they're more talented than the guys.
Yeah. I mean, Simone Biles is doing tricks that only men have been able to do. That there's a few things that only men were allowed to do until she came around because she could do them. And like, we went off. Sorry, that was mainly me. I went off on that. But so
Right.
Pink's paying the fees. She's doing good celebrity stuff. Somebody else is Emmy Rossum. She's an American actress. You probably maybe know her from Shameless. She's the lead girl in Shameless.
The oldest daughter?
Yeah, the oldest daughter.
Yes. I love that show.
So she's in Shameless. She plays Christine in Phantom of the Opera. She's in The Day After Tomorrow. She's in Beautiful Creatures. I love that movie. But she's really just a really great actress, and she just recently had a little baby. Oh, and nice. She was in the news not because she had a baby, but because her first like post of her showing about her baby is her advocating for people to get vaccinated because she was vaccinated while she was pregnant, and her baby was born with the antibodies. So
yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so she was vaccinated while she was pregnant. Her baby was born with the antibodies. So her baby's like equipped. Her baby's good to go. Obviously, don't give it COVID, but it has an antibody, so it's definitely good for her. Her baby doesn't have to worry as much. And I just thought that was really cool that she's advocating for that. And I love her a lot. She's definitely one of those actresses I would love to work with. Just because she's so talented. She's so talented.
Yeah.
She's good. She's wonderful. So this is the sad one. It has officially been a year since Nia Rivera's funeral.
Whoa, are you serious?
Yeah, it's been a year. It's been a year since the lake. And for any of our listeners, if you don't remember, she was a huge star. She's on Glee. So incredibly talented. But she went missing last year after renting a boat on Lake Piru out here in California. And when her boat didn't return, there was a search sent out. They only found her son on the boat, and it took 5 days before she was found. And it was concluded that she had drowned, which is really, really sad, because she was literally just out with her son to go swimming. And it was just a horrible accident. Her son was 4. He's 5 now. And her ex-husband, another actor, Ryan Dorsey, he wrote a really sweet message on his Instagram. It's super long, so I'm not going to read it. But it was really sweet, and it talks about how their son Josie is growing up, and he's so adventurous, and he's such a strong kid, and that he's 5 now, and it's just a really sweet like message that he wrote for her. And if you want to read it, or if our listeners want to read it, it's his Instagram. It's just Dorsey Ryan. But it's really just really nicely written. It's very sweet message. But I can't believe it's already been a year.
That
Like, it's
went
so wild.
fast.
Yeah,
That
that's what,
went
when I saw it,
fast.
I was like, it has been a year since that happened. And I saw a picture of her son too. Her son like looks completely different. He's like a year older, but like kids grow so fast. And I'm like,
Yeah,
that doesn't even look like the same kid. Like I
yeah.
mean, it is, but he's just grown so much, and that's like such a huge teller with like time.
Wow.
Um, and then the last thing I wanted to talk about news wise is, I don't know if you saw J-Lo this weekend. I'm
Yeah.
so jealous of her entire existence. Like, she's 52 years old. She is 52 years old. She
Yeah.
looks, I will never be as hot as she is.
She looks like she's
Like,
in her 30s or something.
yeah, she looks like she's like 25, 30 years old. Like, she
Yeah.
looks like she's my age, except for I look like I'm like dying, and she literally
No.
is. Oh God, I I've always been a fan of hers, and she just got to enjoy her birthday weekend looking hot as hell, just chilling on a boat with Ben Affleck. Like, I'm so mad. Like, I just want to look like her when I'm 52. Like, her and Jennifer
Man.
Aniston don't age. Like, the two of them should just start a club.
I haven't seen Jennifer Aniston in a while because I didn't watch the Friends
Oh,
thing.
I didn't either.
I
The reunion thing, I didn't
I'm
either. But
not.
I've seen her in, like, she's still active in film. Like, she does stuff like at least every couple of years she's in something.
Yeah, it's been a
So,
second since I've seen her because I don't
what's her
watch all of
most
her
recent?
stuff.
Let me see. What is her most recent projects?
Sandra Bullock is one too that
Oh
just
my God, Sandra Bullock
timeless.
also.
Yeah.
Um, what is your most recent thing, Miss Sandra Bullock, other than the Friends reunion Cake? That was 2014. Oh wait,
I don't even
no,
know
no,
that.
no, no. She's in the morning show.
On Apple,
Yeah.
I meant to watch that. Um, because of Reese Witherspoon.
Okay. Yeah.
And have you seen Little Fires Everywhere?
No.
Watch it.
You look like you saw a ghost when I said I didn't see that. Hold on.
Oh my god.
What is it
I,
called?
I think it's called Little Fires Everywhere or something like that on Hulu. It's with Reese Witherspoon and oh I'm blanking on my girl's name.
Kerry Washington.
Kerry Washington, yes. She
Oh, I saw a thing for this.
like a
I
trailer?
forgot about it. Not even a trailer. I literally saw, again, LA billboards. It was one
Oh
of those.
yeah, yeah.
It was one of the really big ones,
Okay.
and I was like, "Wow, that looks really cool." And then I saw who was in it with Kerry Washington and Reese Witherspoon, and I was like, "Oh, I'm
Yeah.
gonna watch that." And then I forgot about it.
I'm gonna tell you something.
Little Fires. Oh my God.
I knew about Kerry Washington. I had no questions about her.
Yeah.
Reese Witherspoon actually got my respect.
She.
I'm used to
Okay. Listen. She has been. Okay. Legally Blonde. Come on.
yes.
Like that. She plays like this ditzy character, but she's so smart and she plays it so well.
Yeah.
And she's such a great actress. Like, she has the career she has because she is so talented.
Yeah.
And she's been doing stuff for a while. She did Cake. That was a really good movie. And that was like a few years ago. I think now she's starting to actually kind of be able to fall into her own. I think another
Mhm.
thing with a lot of female actresses is that they don't get to really do what they want to do because they get stuck in these little tropes,
Yeah.
and it's really hard for them to break out of that.
Yeah, only a certain amount of them can actually do what they want to do.
Yeah, and
Or
it's like, and it's
previously.
usually you always read articles about like those women being like a hassle to work with, that they're a bitch on set, but it's like,
Yeah.
no, they're just doing what the men do, but because she's so talented.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing the thing for this. God, like it had to, 2020. So it was probably sometime last year. I was probably like driving home from like something,
Yeah.
and I think I saw that and I was like, oh, that looks really good, because it was before it came out, and I think that's why I never watched it, because I think that's the only time I saw the thing was before it came out, and I was like, oh, I'll watch it when it comes out. And then
Yeah. It's Little Fires Everywhere and Big
Mhm.
Little Lies on HBO.
Big Little Lies is another one I want to see. I never watched that either, but I've only heard good things.
Those two shows made me respect Reese as an actor like more because I didn't think
Yeah.
she had that range. I'm used to the
Really?
I'm used to the ditzy
I mean,
character.
yeah. If
You know
you're
what I'm saying?
used to that, then
That's
you're
what because I only watched Legally Blonde because my sister was so into it, and I because she's my younger sister, I
Mhm.
had to watch a lot of stuff that she wanted to watch when we were kids.
Yeah.
So I ended up having to watch all the Legally Blondes, all the Mary Kate and Ashley movies, all that stuff. So that's what I'm used to with her, Legally Blonde.
Yeah.
It never even crossed my mind as to whether I would see her in something that as dramatic as Big Little Lies or Little Fires Everywhere.
She's definitely one of those people because she was in I said Cake earlier, that was Jennifer Aniston. She's in the movie Wild, where she basically like she's like hiking and stuff. And that movie I think was one of the first times that I saw her like outside of her like stereotype,
Yeah,
and I loved it. And
yeah,
she I think she has her own production company,
yeah.
and because I'm literally just looking at her filmography right now. She has 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, not 9 things in pre-production where she's a producer and executive producer of.
Nice.
um the show, the morning show, she's an executive producer. Another movie that's coming out 2022, she's an executive producer. So is she's doing a lot. Yeah,
Yeah,
Little Fires Are There, Truth Be Told, Lucy in the Sky, Big Little Lies, Master of the Mess. So she's making shows and movies that I'm sure she wanted to be in.
mm-hmm.
And like that's something that I would love to do too, because she has her own production. She has like the backing from her own wallet
Yeah,
where she can go out and make what she wants to make.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
think that's opening a lot of doors for a lot of other female filmmakers,
yeah.
because people are seeing these women just like dominate right now. Like even we're going to be talking about um Fear Street a little bit, and the director of Fear Street is a woman.
Yeah.
And it's such a great like trilogy that Netflix came out with. And um I think these are like the people that are really starting to open that up and really open that door for a lot of other like female producers and female directors
Yeah.
to do really well. And again,
Huh.
I think it's a lot of things with my generation, our generation. Like
Mm-hmm.
we aren't like, oh, women have to be inside, women can't work, women can't do that. We're like,
Mm-hmm.
no, we can do everything, like,
Yeah.
and probably
Yeah.
do it better.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, for sure. And I think it takes it takes the like support of men as well to
Yeah.
bring
And
that about.
absolutely, like it's you have to have those guys that are like, no, like she's gonna kill it, she's gonna do
Yeah.
super well,
Yeah.
because you're gonna have those other people that are like, no, we don't want that, they're not gonna be able to do it. And you got those guys that gotta stick up and be like,
Yeah.
no, like they're really good at this.
Yeah.
Like editing, like everything. It's like no, like just because they're a woman doesn't mean they can't do it. Like they can edit.
Uh,
Like I know some like people that specifically like photographers, like some of my friends that are photographers, like some of my women friends literally know how to edit and like really compose a really great photo
mm-hmm.
better than like anybody else I know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there's not like a ton of like super famous like women photographers. There's obviously a bunch, but like you hear more about like a lot of the male photographers. But like some
Yeah.
of these women that they're killing it,
Yeah.
and
For sure.
doing super super well.
For sure. Yeah. I might actually watch Big Little Lies again because if I'm not mistaken, I think they come out with another season for that. So
Probably.
I think I think they
Well,
are.
let me see.
I think
I
they
literally
are.
have it right here. I can pull it up. Hold on. Where'd it go? There it is. Big Little Lies.
That show was phenomenal.
It says 2017 to 2019, so it doesn't say current.
Oh man.
So I doubt it.
They need to do another season.
Oh no, wait, season 2. Oh no, that was 2019. Sorry, I thought season 2 was. Yeah, no, it's only showing season 1 and season 2 on here. It doesn't say that there's anything new yet.
HBO
Shailene Woodley's in
I don't know her by name.
that. She's in like the Divergent movies. She was
Yes.
Secret Life of
Yes.
American Teenager.
Yes, she did a phenomenal job too.
She's one of those actors that's like really good and like, but also just like she's just really weird. She's a really weird person. But she's good at what she does,
Yeah.
like Okay, we tangented way off of talking about how JLo's hot, and now we're on like all this feminism stuff. Okay. Okay. So I guess now we can kind of segue into our next segment. Oh my God. Do we need to take like a break? Do we need to like pause and just be like, we're gonna take a break?
Yeah, we can take a break. Let's take a break real quick and then come back with the trailer for it and get right into Fear Street.
I literally said break and my dog was like, what?
This is Lopez.
When I get up in the booth, bitch, you know damn well that I'm gonna go stupid. Cause I'm living out these dreams that are lucid. Can really give a fuck what her, him, or you said. They said I'm a motherfucking nuisance with a drink in me cause I'm so damn boosted. They hate it when I go ape shit like a poochin'. That's word of Marcel and my new friends.
Well, welcome back, guys. We are on to our next segment. That last one lasted way longer than I thought it was going to. We really kind of went into some tangents. I say we, it was mainly
It's all
me.
good.
I talk a lot.
I do too, but
our next segment is going to be a review. We watched all 3 movies of the Fear Street trilogy this past week, and we're going to talk about all of them. So Fear Street is, oh my gosh, I literally closed out of it because I closed out of the Jennifer Aniston tab, and it accidentally closed out of the Fear Street one too. I like was gonna read the little blurb for that. Okay. So Fear Street, it is 3 films based off of R.L. Stein's book series by the same name, Fear Street. As I said earlier, fans have been dying for this to be a movie. I watched an interview where he talked about how all he sees on his Twitter all the time is people asking when Fear Street's going to be 3, when it's going to happen. And then when they finally announced it, all of the fans were like, I'm dead, I'm dying, I can't wait, I'm so excited. And this guy's like so old, so it was really funny for him to see him like talking about like seeing people being like, I'm digging my grave. Like it's really funny. So if you don't know what Fear Street is, it is a circle of teenage friends accidentally encounter the ancient evil responsible for a series of brutal murders that have plagued their town for over 300 years. Welcome to Shadyside. That's their little tagline. So Fear Street has 3 parts. So you've got part 1, 1994. Part 2 is 1978, and part 3 is 1666. How do you wanna go over these? Do you want to go them in order? Or you just want to kind of jump through like kind of everything about every part?
Yeah, we can. I will say though, I was confused as hell when I first got onto Netflix because I was looking at it, and when I first heard about Fear Street, I didn't even notice it was a trilogy. I just saw one. And I was like, okay, whatever. And then once you suggested it, I was like, hold up, that's 3 films.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, I okay.
Because you were like, I was like, oh, maybe we could do that like 3 film thing, and you're like, I'm down. Wait, what? But yeah, no, I found out about it because there's this girl that I followed on Tumblr like a decade ago, like back when Tumblr was a thing. She was like one of those like a Tumblr girl, like, but not trying to be a Tumblr girl. I don't know. There's like, if you know Tumblr, you know that there was just like a set of people that were just like, people would like steal their photos and use them for like everything. And she was, and I was like, who is this person? And I found out she was like an actress, and she's done a bunch of stuff. Her name is Emily Rudd, and she plays Cindy in part 2. And so she plays the older sister.
Yeah.
And so I followed her on Instagram like forever ago, because she was one of those people that I was like, you're gonna do really great things, like you're really talented. She did like a Best Buy spot, like she's been doing stuff. And so when I saw that she was at the premiere for Fear Street, I was like, oh, she's in this. Oh, that's kind of cool. And then I realized that she was like one of the leads, and I was like, holy shit. I was like, oh my God, like she's
Yeah.
doing something. I'm so happy. I'm so
Yeah.
proud. She doesn't know I exist, but I'm so proud of her. But yeah, so she posted about the premiere, and I was like, oh, is that thing that keeps popping up on like my suggested on Netflix? And I was like, oh. And I was like, oh, wait a second, she's in this. She's not just at the premiere. She's like one of the stars. And then you've got the girl from Stranger Things. She is in it.
Yes.
God, why can't I remember her name? I literally just read it. Oh my God, what is her name?
I forgot her. I never knew her name.
I just remember her as Max
Yeah.
from Stranger Things.
Sadie Sink.
Yeah. So she is in it in the second one, but she plays the younger sister in part 2, and part 2 has a very like Jason like vibe, like Halloween vibe, like
Yeah.
because I mean they're at a summer camp, like
Yeah.
so basically like the premise of all the movies is there's the 3 parts. It starts in 1994, it goes back to 1978, and then it jumps all the way back to 1666, and kind of throughout the other 2 movies you get flashes back to 1994. And some of the characters in 1994 figuring out what the hell's been going on for the past 300 years. And the whole thing is about this witch, Sarah Fear, who cursed the town. And so you've got Shadyside and Sunnyvale, and it's kind of like you have like the good side of the city, and then you have the like rundown kind of like, it almost reminds me of in like Riverdale, how you have the serpent side people, and then like the Riverdale people, you have both sides of it, and it's very much like it's kind of one of those like tropes in like film.
Yeah. It almost comes across as like a class thing,
like a class thing. Yeah, it's like the people that are in like Sunnyvale are like the rich people, and they show it like that too. Like those are the mansions, those are where like the politicians, the cops, like they all live in like the nice area. And then people who are like single parents or don't have as much, they just don't have as much, they live in like shady side. I also like that the mascot for Shady Side is the witches. The Shady Side
that
witches
threw me off.
Which is funny because it's like everybody always talks about how like Sarah Fear is a curse to this town, but their mascot is a witch.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite things that they did with this, that the actors, I watched their Comic-Con like panel, most of it, I didn't finish it, but they talk about how they basically pay homage to a bunch of other movies, like a bunch of other 90s, like, or not just 90s movies, just horror movies in general. So part 1, they really kind of play on like Scream.
Yeah.
And like that first opening scene is very similar to the first opening scene of Scream, where like Drew Barrymore gets murdered, her character gets murdered. And then this one, Maya Hawke, also from Stranger Things, she gets killed.
Oh, she was in Stranger Things.
Yeah. So that's Maya Hawke. She, what was her character in Stranger Things? I don't remember. Heather. Yeah. So she was in Stranger Things.
Let me ask you something. Was that the same mall that was in Stranger Things?
Yes. Yeah. So when I was watching it, my roommate who literally grew up here in LA, it's the Sherman Oaks Mall.
Okay.
That's what he said. He said it's the Sherman Oaks Mall, and it's just because it's never been renovated, so it's literally looks the same as it did in the 90s and like the 80s and the 90s. So yeah, so it's the same mall. So they used Sherman Oaks Mall for Stranger Things. They used it for this. So it's funny that they both kind of ended up in this same mall for like a different movie.
I was looking at it, I'm like, man, that looks just like
Stranger Things. Yeah,
I was like, there's no way that can't be the same one.
Yeah, no, but yeah, they use the same location, and that's the thing. And Sherman Oaks is part of the Valley, so we were talking about like the Valley earlier. And
Yeah. Okay.
So that's pretty much everything's filmed here. Like I don't know, if you know like the Pink Motel, that's a location that's used in like a ton of movies. There's like a little diner used in a ton of movies. It's literally like I could walk to it. it's around
Oh,
the
wow.
corner from my apartment. Yeah. And like
Oh,
I'll
wow.
drive by it regularly, and there's like film crews there like all the time. Like
Wow.
we literally like where we live, they film all the time. So it's really, really cool. You can go outside
Nice.
like around the corner and they're filming something. And then I work in Burbank. So that's where
Yeah.
all the studios are, and they use a lot of places in Burbank for like locational work. So it's really cool.
Nice.
But yeah, so what was like I have like a segment I want to do if we do any like horror movies. But I'll get to that. But like what was like your favorite thing about the movies?
um, favorite thing. I don't even know what off the bat was my favorite thing. Um, I would say though the second one was my favorite of the three.
Yeah, I enjoyed the second one a lot.
I think it's mainly because it was just 90s feel to it. Like that's the only thing I could really think of
The
that
second one was the camp.
the camp. I'm sorry. Yeah,
So that was
so
the
the 90s,
70s.
the 90s, yeah, the 70s, but the 70s. I'm sorry. So I love the 90s, the first one. That was 94.
Yeah.
So the second one was the 70s. But I love that one because of the fact that it was just
It was very much like a classic horror,
it was
like
classic, yeah.
Halloween. Like
Yeah,
it
it was
very much
classic.
had yeah, it did. It had that like classic horror movie. Like that's what you would kind of expect from a horror movie was that.
But I didn't expect to see a kid get killed.
Me either. That I think is one of the big things that like it's another like film trope. Like when a kid dies, like it's usually just like right, it's like off to the side, you know, it's like
Yeah.
you know it happens.
Yeah.
But like they did not hold back.
At all.
But that's probably that's this segment I want to do if we do horror movies is I want to call it kill shot.
Ooh.
And what's your favorite like kill shot? What's your favorite kill from like the movies?
Ooh. Favorite kill from the movies. Jeez. Okay. In seven that was 74.
78.
78.
Yeah.
So in 78, when what's his name? Jesus. All these names.
We literally are so bad at our job.
All
we need to know is like who's
Tommy.
in what.
Tommy.
Yeah.
When Tommy was when they were in that I guess you call it cave or whatever it was.
The like tunnel thing that was
tunnels. Yeah.
The catacombs.
The way he killed that guy just out of the blue. I forget his name.
Oh my god, I'm trying to remember the scene.
He was the first person to kill. He was the first person that he killed. You remember when Tommy was
oh my god. Oh, the friend.
Yes.
Oh my god, what was his name? Hold on, I'm looking.
Not seeing him listed.
Oh my god.
He was Alice's boyfriend.
Yeah. It's funny because like we watched 3 movies, so I'm trying to like find the scenes from like each one. Damn, I don't remember what his I
don't remember his name, but
Billy?
it was the first person that he killed.
Yeah. The guy with like the pothead with the long hair.
Yeah. And that one, I will say that one was probably the one that
was it Arnie?
I think so. Yeah, I think it did start with A.
Yeah, Alice and Arnie. Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, no, like they just showed that right up, just freaking axe to the. I was like,
and not just like one time. He went for
no, yeah, he went hit a few times, and I think that was one of like the biggest things that I noticed in specifically the second one because I feel like that was where the most carnage was in.
Yes.
Was the second one, and I think something you expect from horror movies is for them to like take their time to kill these people. Yeah. Like they go to a room and they like see somebody and the person's like, oh no, and then they start to run away and then there's like a scuffle and all this stuff happens. No, they just like they saw a person dead, saw a person dead, saw a person dead, like immediately. And I think that was something that made it so much more like what the hell is going on, because you don't see that in horror movies. Usually a horror movie, like there's such an elongated thing
Mm-hmm.
before like the killer gets the victim.
Yeah.
But no, like he just, if there was somebody in front of him, they were dead.
Yeah.
Like immediately.
I think I was expecting for him to get away. I think that's why it caught me off guard.
Yeah.
I was expecting for him to get away and then kind of like trip, fall, and then get killed.
Yeah.
I figured he was gonna die. I figured he was gonna be he was collateral, but
He was collateral.
but the way he just like he's just sitting there, is like, hey man, what's wrong?
He's like, bro,
Axe
dead.
Like I'm like, bro. That one got me. I think that one set the tone for the rest of the film.
Yeah, I think it really did. I definitely think that kind of set.
Once you saw that everyone else was like about to get murdered, it was like, okay, yeah, they're not making this one. They're not making it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like which one was my favorite, because when I was watching the Comic-Con panel, the actors were like talking about like their favorite ones. That's kind of where I got this idea for like Kill Shot as like a segment that we can do.
Yeah.
They were saying the character Kate, when she gets her head chopped up in the bread slicer
at the first one
at the grocery store.
Oh my god, that made me nauseous.
And like I thought that was gross. But then the other guy, because it literally looked like he was like, "Hey, we're good to go," and then out of nowhere, like the axe just comes and hits him in the head. Like, it's just like there was so much of that. And then the girl who plays Sam, she was saying that her favorite death was her own, when they drowned her in the lobster tank.
Yeah.
And so with that also like was not what I was expecting, because in that scene, like she's taking the pills so that she can die, and then they're gonna like stab her with an EpiPen to like bring her back.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was so mad, because like that's not how you use EpiPens.
I was wondering,
because you have to blue to the sky, orange in thigh, you slam it in, and you have to hold it there. You have to hold it in like the muscle for like a few seconds for like the medicine to go in. And like she was just like stab, and I was like, that's not how that works.
I thought she was doing it like too much. I was like, there's no way that.
Well, because like you had to do it so that like it would basically resuscitate her from death. Like it was going to be so much adrenaline that it would start her heart again. Yeah, so she needed a ton of it. I don't know if she needed that much, but so she was like, this is going to work. And then I think that's when she started doing like CPR, and I guess that pushed the adrenaline through her body to like wake her up. I don't know. But when she like dropped all the pills and she couldn't kill herself or kill her by taking the pills, and she like looked over at like the tank, I was like, oh my god, is she allergic to like shellfish? Is she gonna like make her like eat the lobster, and then that's gonna put her into anaphylactic shock, and then she's gonna die, and then she can bring her back? Like that's what my brain was telling me. And then when they cut back and the lobster's crawling away, I was like, what is she gonna do? And then I was like, oh, they're gonna drown her. Okay. But like I went through
a way to look at it. I never thought about it like that.
I went through a whole thing. I was like, oh my god, like, and I was trying to think too, and I was like, oh, she was in the lobster tank, and I was like, did they mention at any point earlier that she was allergic to shellfish? And like that, I was like, was there foreshadowing to this? Like, is this that in depth? And then it wasn't. They were just gonna drown her.
I mean, but why didn't they think of that before? All those pills.
Yeah, like I think they just,
and you had to do. Like, he told her specific times too. Like you have to wait. You have to wait 5 minutes.
5 minutes between
these.
this. Yeah,
like, bro, come on, man.
It was super specific on that. But and then they just drowned her anyway. So like
that bread, that head slice thing, that I didn't expect that. I thought
she was gonna get away. I really thought that she was gonna survive.
I thought after he stabbed her, she'd be able to get out, run away. Yeah.
Or at least like fall off the table and maybe just get stabbed in the back or something. Like I did not think her head was gonna get like literally shredded by a bread slicer.
That made me nauseous.
Yeah, that one was done. Rough. Oh my god. Not that, oh no, this one was pretty bad. The that camper, when they were trying to pull the girls out of the toilet and the guy literally just chops his head off, and his body fell through the hole, and it was just like there on the ground.
And it
I was
landed
like,
on her broken ankle.
yeah, and it landed on her leg. I was like,
Oh,
what?
there's no, and they were so casual about, oh, get him off, like
Yeah.
he just fell asleep, just get him
Yeah.
off. No,
And
man,
then it's like, no, he just doesn't have a head. And like they don't, and I think that's like another thing with this movie is that they don't like focus in on like some of the stuff. Like I was expecting some kind of like focus in on like the severed head, but no, you just see it when the girl's like running out of the little like bathroom thing.
Mhm.
You just see the head on the floor in the background.
Yeah,
And it's
it does roll off.
So it's like you don't like, but they don't like focus on like any like major thing like that. Like I feel like a lot of like horror movies, when somebody dies, they just like focus in on that person's death, but they really, I think they really played against a lot of like the natural horror film tropes. And I think that's something that really makes these movies stand apart from like other horror movies and made it like a good film. Cause like I'm not a huge fan of like super gory movies. Like I don't really care for them, but I enjoyed this. And like this is something I'd probably watch it again because it is a really good like full series. And I think one of the biggest ones is that you always see like so you literally like never see a gay or like a queer romance in a horror movie. It's literally always like the cheerleader and the jock, and those are the main characters, and then you've got like the geeky person, and that's usually the survivor. Like that's what you kind of get, but you kind of had like a really good like more diverse group of people that wasn't like the stereotypes of things. Because the lead two girls were a cheerleader and like a band geek, and like at the beginning of the movie you have no idea that
Listen, that's the thing, she said Sam at the beginning of the movie.
But like Sam is such like a neutral name that like you don't realize it until like Sam walks up and you're like, oh shit, she's gay. Like, you don't know. And it's like you watch it and you're like, oh shit, like these are the lead characters and they're gay, and that doesn't happen a lot in film. And I think that's another thing that like film is starting to do more of, is have more representation in that. And like you don't have to have like the stereotype like male female relationship to have like the same like feelings in it. And I think I was thinking about this, and it's like literally like how the movie ends. It's like it's not like two girls in a gay relationship that like ruined everything, that caused all of the problems. No, you know what it was? A white man. He's the one who caused all the problems, and he blamed it on a black girl.
I mean, it's tale old as time.
like the stereotypes of their movies, and like the stereotypes for like witchcraft, and it's like, no, it wasn't witchcraft. It was literally just a white man who blamed it on
basically sold his
the minority
soul to the devil.
And every like soul sense, like
So okay, this
that
is
was
the
a good
only
twist
thing,
though.
that was a great twist, because I didn't see that one coming. I didn't see that one, but the only thing I have a question about with this entire trilogy, what the hell was the breathing matter?
I think that was supposed to be like the demon that was summoned. Like that was its like earthly form.
That is okay. So that is a very interesting way to do it, because we're always used to devil pitchfork horns entity. That was an interesting way to do it, because it was,
I feel like I've seen something like that before, but I can't like place where.
I'm not big into horror like that, so
but like I don't know if it was like in a horror, if it was like a sci-fi thing where that was like the heart of like the aliens, like that was like the queen.
See, for aliens, that is like, okay, for example, Halo. They have something like that in Halo. And I think Halo 2.
Okay.
Whereas like little aliens that are just come out of this thing that looks similar
like
to
a
that.
sack, like this like sack thing that they like come out of.
Yeah.
But so like I'm trying to think of, I feel like it was something else where basically there was like the pentagram on the floor, and there was like something in the middle, and like the blood, like basically like kind of how they showed it in the movie, that like it fed off the blood of all the people that died or whatever. But that like that's where it like lived, was in that like thing. I feel like I've seen it before, but like yeah, so I feel like that's like the physical entity of the demon that was giving the good family what they wanted.
So you know what? It just hit me when you said that was all their blood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, because
That just hit me.
that's yeah. So for every person, because they the symbol that was on the floor of the cave, which was a different part of that like cave area, would like materialize in there and like soak into it, and then it would absorb all of that, and that's where it got all of its energy from.
So that's how it
The
formed
longer,
that mass.
yeah, the longer it was there, the bigger it grew, and it
Makes
became what it
sense.
was
That
by
makes
feeding
sense.
off of all of the
Because
dead people.
all the um beings that came to be out of that, whenever they would get shot or whenever they would bleed that
It was
dark.
like that black goo.
Yeah, so that makes a lot of sense, that it was their blood, that this is okay.
Yeah, because
All right.
that's also where they would like resurrect from.
Yeah.
So when the demon needed to get those bodies, it would resurrect the previous murderers from that source. So that was kind of like
disgusting
the
as hell.
source of it all. It's
I
gross.
was grossed out. I'm not even going to front. That grossed me the hell out. That was
Yeah,
horrible.
I really thought that they were gonna. I thought that they were gonna like stab that,
That's
and
what I
not
was
that
thinking.
was how they were gonna kill it.
Yeah.
And not, yeah, and like not have to kill Nick Good, but like I do like how that happened.
That was amazing.
I am curious though, like if, because they were at the camp, so Nick Good in the second movie in the 78, Nick Good like was like, I really like this girl from Shady Side and that whole thing, and then he does save her. I wonder if he knew about like his family's past yet, like if he had been told like what he was going to have to do or not. And if he was trying to get her out of that situation, so that because he wanted her on the bus, and he was making sure she wasn't going to leave, because he knew that she was a shady sider, so that the things would go after the shady siders. So he was trying to get her to leave. She missed the bus, so she didn't leave, and he did everything to bring her back. So I feel like he did know, and I feel like he wanted to like marry her so she'd become like a Sunnyvaler, because he like loved her, even though he like knew her for like a couple days at camp, I guess. I don't know.
Kids.
But so I'm like wondering if he knew then, and I think thinking back on it now, I think he did know, and that's why he was trying to like save her as much as he was. I think he knew like what was like about to happen.
Yeah.
But then he's also the one that slipped her the note in part 1.
Yeah.
To be like, hey, it's happening again. It's like, bitch, you know it's happening because you're the one doing it. Like, but she doesn't know that. So he's trying to get her to stay on his side by being like, hey, like, just so you know, like it's happening again.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
you
she
should
wanted
know,
her
like,
dependent on him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
He still, I think he still like had feelings for her and wanted her.
Which is weird.
Yeah. It's
grown ass
just,
man, and you're talking about a summer love that you had 30 years ago.
Yeah. Like,
Come
all right,
on,
homie.
bro.
You got to move past that,
Come
bro.
on, man. Like,
yeah, but like it.
No one caught your eye in that span of time.
Not a single person. He was
Not
like,
one.
no, the only one that's got my eye is the devil. That's all he could see. But like, no, I mean, I really enjoyed the series. There's so much to it, and then you go into, I really do think it was a very good twist to find out that like the good family,
Yeah,
was not good.
Well, is that, and the fact that Sarah wasn't a witch.
Yeah, because like
those are two really good twists that they put in there.
I think that's really good too. And it's like finding like the truth is and not just like because they spent so much time trying to like find the truth as to why Sarah did it, and then they find the actual truth as to like it wasn't her. It was Solomon Good.
Yeah.
And I think I really do like that twist that happens because like I feel like that's really truthful to how a lot of it happened back in like the witch trials, where like people were constantly being accused of being witches and they would constantly deny it until they're like, well, I'm gonna die no matter what, I might as well like make a show out of it. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of what Sarah Fear did, and that's what a lot of people do now, like in the justice system, is like these cops are gonna sit there and they're gonna belittle you and berate you for hours on end until you finally confess, because you're like miserable anyway. They're not going to believe me if I tell them the truth no matter what, so I might as well give them what they want. And like that's something that like they show happening in part 3 in 1666, and it kind of correlates to shit that goes down in the justice system now in like 2021.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how that like still is a thing, because like that's probably I mean like, obviously we weren't there in like the 1600s and like witch trials and stuff were going on, but people were basically just blaming anybody that they didn't like for being a witch.
Yeah.
And the council would be like, okay, and then just like kill them. Like,
but you know what, I didn't even think about it, about whether a woman that was a lesbian, like being
well, it would be
considered a
seen as like
witch.
blasphemous,
Yeah,
because it's like
even
it's
compute.
yeah, because I mean like anything like homosexuality that was never like that. Oh, it's always been a thing. Like it's literally always existed,
Especially in
but
religion.
yeah. Well, no, it hasn't existed in religion. The I think it's like the New Testament. Homosexuality literally isn't like in the Bible at all, and
No,
like
I'm talking about like the people. I'm not talking about the actual Bible.
Okay.
The way people practice religion.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's always been like
It's always been a stereotype.
For whatever reason, I don't understand, because there's literally nothing that says that like it's wrong.
No, they
Because they talk about man shall not lie with boy, and it got which is pedophilia. Yeah. But it got like mistranslated to fit certain agendas to say man shall not lie with man.
Yeah.
So making it seem more of a thing against like gay relationships. There's the whole thing. Like that's like a whole thing on its own. But that's how that would be seen. Like a lot of there's a lot of stories that like witches, like air quote witches, were blamed to be witches because like these women were like taking husbands' wives away from them. And they'd be like, oh, she's a witch, like she's taking my wife. It's like, no, you just are a bad husband. Like that's just it. And it's I liked how they played on it, because I feel like horror movies don't ever do anything like that. It's always like something else.
Yeah.
So they really kind of played on that and like made it so it's like, even though it's like two women, like they still save the day. You know, they find out the truth. They rid the town of the curse. So
yeah,
for what we know, apparently there's more Fear Street books. So
well, and what I read last week is that they wanted to turn this into the MCU. Netflix wants to MCU like.
Oh, I was like,
yeah, no,
how?
not you can't add it. No.
I was like, that doesn't make sense.
If you watch the credits of the third one, it showed a pair of hands just coming out and grabbing the book.
Yeah. Okay. So that is it's basically leaving it open for a continuation.
Yeah.
Which would make sense because there are more stories in the Fear Street world, so they could easily take that and just kind of go on from there. And create like multiple like how Marvel, how they have all the movies, but it's all one universe and it all coincides.
Yeah,
that would be really cool. I think that would be really neat.
See, I don't know anything about these books, so
I feel like I remember them when I was a kid, because I know I had a ton of R.L. Stine books growing up, and I probably read it, or my sister had it and she read it, but I don't remember it.
Yeah.
Because it got to be at least 20 years probably since I would have read it. So like I don't remember it too much.
Yeah. No, I think this is a good step, especially for Netflix to take this on. I mean, you have a series like that. That's phenomenal. To be completely honest, I don't even think I would have watched this if you didn't suggest it. Because I'm just not,
Really?
yeah, I'm not into horror films anymore. Like it's just it's you know, it's like once you see one, you've seen them all.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with that. I feel like a lot of horror movies are kind of like on that same like realm where
Yeah.
it's like you're
Even
kind
though
of just they're just kind of like
Paranormal Activity
that
did a good job.
that was crazy because that movie literally had a budget of like $28,000 and they filmed in the director's house and mainly the budget was the camera that the guy already owned.
Yeah.
And then like very basic stuff.
Yeah.
And it grossed like a couple $100 million.
Yeah.
Like I think that's oh, shit,
Stupid.
what is it? Yeah, insane. Yeah, hold on.
Um,
And it just kind of flew into like its own it became its own like series, and it's like I feel like that kind of definitely opened some doors for like a different kind of horror, which is nice. Hold on, let me see. I want to look up. Oh my god, Paranormal Activity 2003 gross.
God, I was 13 years old.
2003.
Yeah.
I was 10.
Wow.
Stop. I was 10 years old. I remember when it came out.
That's crazy.
Oh my god.
That's crazy.
Whoa. Profits. It's profited 3,592 times. It's
Oh, that's hilarious.
I think, hold on. Let me I'm trying to, I don't know what this chart means. It's a chart. Hold on. I just want to see how much it grossed because like
yeah, because I mean they basically didn't, that was on a DV cam, I think they shot it.
Literally almost 200 million. It was $193.4 million. 107.9 domestically and 85.4 in the foreign markets.
Just on the first film alone.
On the first film alone.
That's stupid. I mean, you basically like,
and
that's all profit.
It made a net profit of $78 million.
That's all profit. There's like, wow.
Oh, and it's literally, oh no. So I looked, okay, so what is the most profitable movie ever? Avatar, The Blair Witch Project, Star Wars, crunches the numbers to see.
But that was more like an independent film to be in the beginning, right?
Oh, it was. Yeah, it was literally this dude. He was like, I want to make a scary movie. So he made it in his house with what he already had.
So that has to be the most profitable independent.
I think so. So it says Paranormal only cost $15,000 to make later. However, its sound was redone for an additional $150,000. And producers spent an extra $50,000 to reshoot the ending at Steven Spielberg's request, bringing the total budget to $215,000 as a result. Looking to show that beats Blair Witch, unless you also factor the marketing costs, in which Blair Witch is in the pole position.
$215,000.
Yeah, so then DreamWorks paid $350,000 for Paranormal, which was released by Paramount, with around $18 million going to domestic marketing. The movie earned $193 million at the global box office. Figuring out Paranormal's profit is complicated because Paramount didn't distribute the movie internationally. Instead, foreign rights were sold to individual distributors for a total of $5 million, with the producers each earning an extra $5 million for bonuses. So, yeah, dollar for dollar, Blair Witch and Paranormal Activity have to be considered two of the best movie investments in history. But does it also make them the most profitable films in hard cash? Not quite. They say 1939's Gone with the Wind, 1997's Titanic, and 2009's Avatar. Those are also all up there. This is a whole thing. It's an article by The Hollywood Reporter. I'll send you the link. But this is actually like super interesting because it's going into these Gone with the Wind cost $4.25 million or $78.6 million in today's money, because that came out like the 30s.
Yeah.
Taken in roughly 200 million, but that doesn't reckon with inflation. Wow.
Man, that's almost 100 years too.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Oh my God.
And that's the thing. I think we talked about this. I think we talked about this last week about like how theaters have been around for over 100 years. Like,
Yeah.
and you think about it and you're like, it's weird. Cause then I was reading another article about how we went to space in 1969 and we had only just developed flight in like the late 1800, early 19. It was like 60 years from like the Wright brothers' first plane to going literally to outer space. Like,
I still don't believe that.
You don't believe in the space landing?
Nah.
Really?
Nah. Because we haven't been back since, and we have much better technology now.
I don't know.
We have much better technology right now, and like
I think their focus now is Mars versus the moon, though.
Yeah, but why has no one gone back to the moon?
Maybe they saw something really scary.
60s? And how much scarier would it be on Mars?
Listen, have you heard the stories about the dark side of the moon? Have you seen Transformers? I don't think anybody wants to find out what's there.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's yeah, I don't know. But
yeah, Apollo 17 in December 1972.
Yeah, 72 versus 2021. And we haven't been back.
That's I don't think it's fake. I don't think it's fake at all.
Here's the thing. I'm looking at it from a photographer's perspective.
Okay.
If Neil Armstrong was the first man on the moon, how the hell did they set up the camera shot?
What do you mean? Like they get they come out with the camera and they put the camera.
Yeah, but how do you get everything to like be still in space?
There's no gravity.
But okay, was he not standing still on the moon?
Yeah. I mean, he's
so if there's no gravity on the moon.
Well, it's not that there's no gravity in space, but there's a gravitational pull on the moon itself. It's just nothing compared to what it is here. Like on the moon, if I drop this, it'll fall down. Here,
so there is some type of pull.
There is, yeah, yeah. On the moon, there is gravity. It's the reason why the moon is round is because it has its own gravitational pull, so it pulls everything in. Like asteroids and stuff don't really have their own gravity. That's why they're all weirdly shaped. But like the moon, Earth, we have that round shape because there's a gravitational pull from the center that pulls it in. So it creates the sphere. So it has its own gravitational pull, but because it's so small, it doesn't have as much pull as we do here on Earth, as well as there's no atmosphere there. So where we have an atmosphere that encases everything, the moon doesn't have one.
Right.
So that was one of the things too. People were talking about, oh, well, there's no like poof out area where it lands. And that's because it's not the way it lands flat onto like the moon dust and moon whatever is there, the rocks and shit. So there's not going to be like any like big indentations because there's no real wind that's been created to push all that stuff. The way that like if you land in a field, like a helicopter lands in the field, it's going to move all the grass and everything around. Right. There's no like wind really for it to even do that. And then some people talk about how like the flag doesn't stay up, or like if there's no wind, how's the flag up? There's literally the pole and they have a piece that like comes out to hold the flag.
Yeah, that's one I've always wondered why they had that there. Because that to me, like, just let it.
Well, because it'll just drop.
Yeah.
So then it'll just be. So it won't be like American flag. It'll be like a.
Yeah.
You won't be able to tell it's the American flag. Americans have egos.
You can tell.
That you need to see their flag.
You can tell. Like it's like that's the thing that's weird to me. Something about it just doesn't feel right. It like. I'm not saying that this was done in the studio or anything like that. It may have been. Something about it just doesn't sit right with me.
It's
This is-
funny because
this is
like I'm
over
so
40
into
years?
conspiracies. I have like I have my paranormal true crime podcast. I've gone so in depth into this kind of stuff. So it's so
Yeah.
funny when I'm like hearing the opposite where like somebody is like, it's fake, it's fake, it's fake. And I'm like, but there's so much evidence that proves that it's not fake.
I'm just saying, it's just I find it weird that we have not been back.
I mean,
I find
that
it
is
very odd
that
that we have not
is-
been back with better technology.
that I don't disagree with. I do think it's strange that there hasn't been like another landing, at least not recently. I know that there's been talks of like colonizing the moon and
I won't be a part of that.
that kind of crazy stuff there, but it's like, who knows? Like maybe they did see something a little sketchy back in 72.
Probably.
That they don't want anybody else to know about.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
it's just something about it just doesn't feel right.
you got that pit in your stomach.
Something just doesn't add up to me. Like
It's like when you leave your house and forget your sanitizer, you're like, something's wrong.
Yeah. Which has happened. My sanitizer and my mask. I kid you not.
Oh my
I will
god.
go right back for it.
It's like masks and like sanitizers, the new like where's my phone? Like
Oh,
when
yeah,
you
for
leave and
sure.
you're like patting your pockets, you're like,
For
okay,
sure.
got my phone, got my mask, got my sanitizer.
Yeah.
And then if you don't have it, you're like, oh god.
And
no.
I still leave my car and walk toward whatever building and forget to wear my mask. I'm like, oh, I gotta walk right back.
You're gonna walk all the way to the
Oh
car.
my
I always
God.
have, because I have my bag with me and I have like 2 extra masks in my bag. I have like 3 in my car. I have the one that I wear when I leave my house, and then like
Mhm.
so I always have like multiple like around me. So when people like don't have masks, we had a lady come into my store. Actually, the past like few days, we've had people come into the store and be like, "Oh, do you guys have masks?" Because they're like not wearing their masks, and like it's weird because we're like in the middle of a mall, so you have to walk through parts of the wall. You have to walk through like the Macy's or something,
Yeah.
in order to get to our store. And I'm like, you made it all the way to our store, and you still realize that like you don't
Yeah.
have a mask on. And I'm like, it's a mandate. There's signs everywhere. There's signs outside the mall. Like every
see
entrance
people.
has something. Everybody around you has it on. Like, how do you not realize?
Mhm.
And so they come in, they're like, do you have masks? And we're like, yeah, absolutely. We give them like a mask, and then they'll just like hold it in their hand and walk out of the store. I'm like, are you not gonna put it on? Like, okay. And we can't say anything because like we don't know if the person's gonna snap at us, and the company doesn't want to deal with a PR issue. So
Yeah. I feel that.
um
But what's your score on this, or rating for Field Trip?
I think I would have enjoyed being in it. It seems like it was a really, really good, like well put together series, really thought out. The way that they tied in 3 movies
Yeah.
to be what it was, I thought that was really, really great. Really, really kind of tied together like TV format and film format. Which I thought is kind of cool. I feel like that's something kind of similar to how like HBO would do with their shows. Like each episode of their show was almost like a movie in itself. But like this was really neat because you can watch them in succession, but like they kind of like are still kind of their own thing. I don't know. I would do like an 8. I would do like a 9. I'm gonna do like an 8.59.
Yeah.
Because it was still a little campy. You know, it's definitely like a gory horror movie, like made for like teenagers. But I enjoyed it. I think it'd be really fun to be in. Would have been really, really fun to be in that project. Because you got a lot of really great cast members. You just got a lot of like really just like fun things. The director in the thing that I was watching, she seemed super cool. Like she just seemed like a really cool person. I'm like, you'd probably be fun to work with.
Yeah.
And I saw a blooper reel and they just look like they had a lot of fun. So like when I see that kind of stuff, I'm like, that makes me want to be in the film a little bit more. So that brings the score up a little bit. What about you?
Yeah, I think I'm around the same 8.59 because like the trilogy got better as it
Progressed. Oh, absolutely.
progressed. Yeah, it the first one I was kind of like when it started, I was like, hold up, please don't tell me this is that cheesy 90 feel type of thing.
Yeah.
But it was a necessary element to bring because it's still the 90s. That's basically how
you kind of had to like it had to build up to be what the story ended up being.
Exactly.
Because like at the end of the 3rd movie, you're back in 1994.
Yeah.
And it's I think it just tied together really well. It was a really good like tie up of everything.
They did a great job with that. It's because in 1666, like almost halfway through, you seen it like the film actually end. I was like, hold up, there's like 30 minutes left, and it says
what?
part two.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
They did a great job with that. So
Yeah.
technically
I think
speaking, you got like 4 movies.
yeah, I feel like the way that they went from, because they went to 1994, 1978, and then they kind of went back to 1994. And I think the way like her putting the hand back with the rest of her body and her discovering the truth, and it like doing flashes of her and Sarah Fear and her and Sarah Fear, and then they became the same person, and then you kind of relive what Sarah Fear is telling her. Like, so it's not like we're just like going back in time to watch it. Like she's sitting there with her hand on Sarah Fear's hand, having this flashback of Sarah Fear's life.
Yeah.
And, but it doesn't like keep going back to her or anything. It stays in that world and it goes through that whole thing of that movie, and then comes back to her at the burial site. And she's like, oh my God, like, this is the truth. And then it goes into that part. And I really, really enjoyed that. I thought it was a really, really good job in creating that like flow the way that they did. And I'm really glad that it wasn't just one movie.
Yeah.
Because there's no way you could have gotten that whole story in a movie. You had to do like those separate parts, or else it just would not have been done well.
Yeah, because the flow, you think about it, that would have been what, 4 hours or so of content for maybe.
No, it was like that was like.
I'm talking about all three. I'm talking about all 3 movies.
Yeah, I think like all 3 was.
It was like an hour and a half each, right?
Were they only an hour and a half each? I thought they were closer to 2 each.
Something like that, I think.
But
so.
I want to say at least 5 hours. At
least somewhere around there, that you're condensing into
maybe 2.
Yeah, so there'd have been a lot of stuff that would have been missed with this if they did that. So I'm yeah, you're right. Hour and a half. I'm excited about it. I liked it. And I don't do horror films, so for me to enjoy it like that, I think they did a great job. I think IMDb rated this very low.
What did IMDb rate it? Because I haven't looked.
So 94, 6.2.
Ooh.
78, 6.8. And 1666 is 6.7.
You know why? Because the people that run IMDb are old white men. I don't know if that's a fact. I just wanted to make up an excuse.
They're Nicholas Good.
Yeah, they're the Nicholas Goods. They're the Nicholas Goods. That's who they are.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so Fear Street part 1 runs an hour and 47 minutes, part 2 an hour and 50, and part 3 an hour and 54. So they're pretty much almost 2 hours each.
2 hours each, yeah.
So much. 3, 4, 5 is like 5.5 hours total.
Yeah. So I mean that's a lot of stuff, a lot of content that you're gonna have to. You
would have to like condense down to be a 2-hour movie. Like I don't think so.
You can't cut that. There's too much.
Because like it really is 3 separate parts though, because it makes sense, because you have like the massacre at the mall, then you have the massacre at the camp, and then you have Sarah Fear's origin. So you kind of, I mean, and I guess the massacre at the church with the children as well. So it's like you kind of have that whole procession there for each part for them to, you would need to have separate parts for each of those. So.
Yeah. They did a great job.
Yeah, I think they did really, really good. So I feel like we should not do our questionnaire because it's only the 2 of us.
Yeah.
And we're already like really I don't know how long this is so far, probably almost 2 hours now.
Close to, yeah.
So I'm sure there's some stuff that you can cut out, but I feel like it's just the 2 of us. Like, I'm gonna quiz only you. Like, that's no fun. No offense, not saying I just feel like competing is better.
I thought about that prior to us getting onto the call, so that's perfectly fine with me. We'll resume when LJ comes back. We'll
resume some fun trivia
after he's disappointed by their draft.
He's gonna come back and he's just gonna be like, "Listen, bro.
Yeah.
Listen.
We're gonna be better next year."
It's he's like, it's gonna be fine. Okay,
Yeah.
like the team's gonna do all right. I know it. Oh my god. Okay, well,
Oh, God.
thank you to everybody who is listening to this show.
Yes.
Do you want to shout out all like the socials for the
Yes.
show?
Yes. So you can follow Realish. And I always mess this up. So hold on real quick. You can always follow Realish on Instagram. I think it's it's Realish underscore REELISH underscore.
Realish
Um,
underscore.
yeah, I'm pretty sure because LJ is in charge of the posting, so I'm pretty sure we're gonna get back into a flow of doing some film news and updates like that on there. But for uh OTS, follow OTS at OTS guys, all social media platforms. You can see all the shows. It's not just Realish, all other shows that we have under the brand. Check it out, see what everybody's up to and what they're doing, and yeah,
Cool.
that's pretty much it.
And then I got my show,
Yes.
Paranormal True Crime, if you guys are into any of that. I posted an episode last week. It's my first episode back in like 6 months. So I promise it's going to be good. I'm really excited, but it's just at Sour Sweet Spooky on pretty much all platforms, Facebook, Instagram. I have a Twitter for it, but I don't really use Twitter anymore. I probably should get on that.
Yeah.
And then my personal stuff is just at Jessica Lemon with 2 L's.
Yes. And you can follow me at Derrick underscore OTS. That's DERRICK underscore OTS.
All right. I feel like this was successful. Missed LJ and his commentary, but he'll be back next week.
He'll be back. He'll be back.
Hopefully he's feeling better. Send him good vibes, everybody.
Please get well, bro.
Okay, bye.